Could you give me a minute? I need to just get something taken care of now. I want to open file. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are finished with Surah number 55. And today, inshallah, we are starting from the beginning, ayah number 1 in Surah 56. Surah 56 is Surah Al-Waqi'ah. Surah Al-Waqi'ah is a Makki surah, and as we have spoken before about the Makki surah, they talk about either the creation or the power of Allah or the hereafter, the day of judgment, or comparing good deeds and bad deeds, and so on and so forth. So there is a style attached to the Makki surah that makes the reader distinguish between the style there and the style of the Madani surah. Madani surah will be talking about current events, things that are happening, answering questions, and so on and so forth. So the number of ayat in the surah is 97, and okay. I want to thank Sister Muna for giving me the link, and I need to know how to move it to my record so that I can keep it. Should I look it up in the chat?
I'm so sorry, Sheikh, to have interrupted your discussion. I just wanted to put it for later.
Okay.
You can, I can help you later, or you just click on it and then just save the website if you want.
If I click on it, it will take the screen, all of it, out of the discussion.
Yes, correct. So maybe later, inshallah.
So, and when I exit, I cannot come back to the chat.
Okay, no problem.
So if you could send it to Andalib and she can pass it on to me, I appreciate it.
Inshallah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sister Muna. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So the surah is talking about, the title is Al-Waqi'ah, which means the happening. And this so I don't know what's going on. So the surah starts off with a kind of like shocking warning, saying, if and when the inevitable event happens. And the inevitable event is the Day of Judgment. Okay? And the surah will be talking about the events of the Day of Judgment. It's called Al-Waqi'ah, which means the great event, or you could say the awaited event, if you will. So in this, you will see here that the description is starting with a stark warning. It says, there is no one to belie or deny it's happening. This is very, very important. In other words, it's saying that when it happens, there's no one that will be able to deny it. And then it will explain what happens on that day. It says that it is going to put low some and bring up others. It will be putting people who deserve to be the lowest in the lowest place, and it will raise up others who ought to be raised, meaning in their status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? When the earth will be shaken, very vigorous shaking, and the mountains will be crushed. It will be pressed and crushed, and it will become like a thrown up stuff in the open, meaning that it will not be as you see it. It will be the mountains will be crushed into small pieces, and it will become scattered particles of dust. Do you see when a bomb is exploding in the middle of huge buildings, as we see in Gaza, you see the dust filling the space. The air will all turn into dust, particles of dust. The scene will be similar on the Day of Judgment, and that scene is just of the mountains. And people will be sorted into three groups. People will be divided into three groups. And the ayat, the following ayat, this is ayat number 7, the following ayat will be talking about those groups and how they are sorted out. The people of the right, which means those who lived a righteous life, they will be blessed and they will be very happy to be an exhibit of bliss by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everybody will envy them. They will be kind of like la creme de la crop, if you will. And the people of the left, the people who stood on the wrong side of faith, they will be in a miserable situation because they will have no exit, no way to run, no way to escape, and no way to hide. So their situation will be very tightly miserable and very difficult. And there are a lot of ahadith that talk about the situation as described here in the ayat of the Quran. And the ones who are the biggest winners, you could call them the foremost in faith, the strongest in faith. They will be the foremost in paradise. They will be the race winners, because this life is also described as a race, and this race is about who's going to win in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. So those three groups, the right, the left, and the greatest winners of all, which will be the happiest of all, of course. And those, the happiest ones, the foremost, the winners, they are also going to be the ones who are nearest to Allah, according to ayah number 11. They will be the nearest to Allah. They will be in gardens of bliss. They will be in gardens of bliss, which means the best places in paradise. There will be a multitude from earlier generations, which means the early generations of humanity who have accepted faith, believed in their prophets, and followed their footsteps. They will be there will be a majority from the earliest generation, and there will be a few from the later generations. Why is it going to be a few from the later generations? It is because faith, when we get close to the day of judgment, uh, people who believe in God will be the fewer. And that's why people who follow Allah will be even fewer, and people who follow His guidance will be few. That's why it will be a few of the later generations who will meet that criteria of being the nearest to God and the greatest of winners. And all will be jeweled thrones. They will be on jeweled thrones, means their thrones on the day of judgment will be ornamented with jewels and pearls and ornaments. Okay? And then they will be reclining face to face on couches. They will be happy meeting each other, reclining. They are not sitting. And the reclining description here is to show how relaxed they will be. May Allah make us among the winners, amongst all people. So they will be reclining face to face, and they will be waited on by eternal youth, meaning young youth who are going to be serving them in paradise. Those are children who died young. They will be raised as children in paradise because they have no accountability, and they are not subject to reckoning before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they have not reached the age of puberty and responsibility to account for their deeds and their choices. So this group, the winners, will be waited on, which means they will be served in paradise by young youth who are eternal, meaning they don't grow old and they are not getting younger either. So they will be youthful all the time, and they will be a joy and a pleasure to have, according to the people to be served. And they will come to them with cups and pitchers and a drink of pure wine from a flowing stream. This wine does not intoxicate, nor does it impair the mind. So they will be bringing cups and pitchers of drinks, that those drinks come from water, wine, and milk. None of them is comparable to, you cannot compare them to the level of what we have in this life, because no matter how much we do, the purity of those products in the day of judgment is unmatched by anything in this life. And as we all know, the description of the wine offered in the paradise, it will not intoxicate the person. It will not impair their mind or their mindful functions. That will cause them neither headache nor intoxication. Here is the text coming to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ayah number 19, that it will not cause them neither headache nor intoxication, to be distinguished from the wine that people take in this life, which is prohibited, of course, as we all know. And they will also be served any fruit they wish for, whatever type of fruit they choose, and it will come to them. It will be right into their presence, they can pick it up by their own hands. And meat from any bird they desire. So they have choices of fruits, choices of birds and meat that they like the most. So in paradise, you get all the choice of all things that you have pleasure in this life, and it all will come purified without any side effects or anything else. And they will have maidens with gorgeous eyes, meaning what is described as حور العين. حور العين means their eyes are wide and beautiful, and they do not extend a look except to their own spouses. In paradise, men and women who die a righteous after a righteous life, they will be raised as righteous people, and when they get to paradise, they will be given the best of their husbands if they were married more than once, or the wife that lived with you, or the husband that lives with you, who died as a righteous person, he will be your spouse, and both of those will come to each other as virgins, as if they had not married before, and they will be the best in their eyes compared to anyone else. So they will not look beyond what Allah has chosen and provided for them. That's ayah number 22. And they will definitely look like pristine pearls. They will look gorgeous in all aspects, and they will be the cool of the eyes of their spouses, all as a reward for what they used to do. These are the rewards of their deeds that they have done in this life in obedience and submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is very, very nice description that you get your reward for whatever good you do in this life. You get your reward from Allah, and it is going to be the best reward you could ever think of. They will not hear in paradise no idle talk and no sinful talk, which means they will only engage each other in beautiful discussions, praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remembering their life and obedience and worship in this life, and they will be given a way forward in which they look always for something even better every day, every hour of their life in paradise. So they will never hear idle discussions or useless talk or, of course, sinful talk. There will never be backbiting or slander or foul language. None of that will be there. Okay? So this is ayah number 25. Only good and virtuous speech. They will only be engaged in good talk and virtuous talk. Virtuous talk refers to talking of piety and love of Allah and counting the blessings of Allah, offering gratitude and praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the kind of talk people will enjoy the most in paradise. And then the second group to describe here is a group that was blessed. Those are the ones who are described as, excuse me, as the right one, the right people, or the people who lived an upright life, and they ended their life upright, and they meet Allah as described in the beginning of the surah as the right group or the group of the right. And they will be amid thornless lot trees, which means trees that does not have thorns. So it does not harm anyone who wants to handle the fruits of such a tree. Clusters of bananas. We know what clusters of bananas are. They look very beautiful and they are very nice in the eyes of the believer, and they are easy to eat. It's not very difficult to peel a banana and eat it. Extended shade. They will be covered all throughout in paradise, wherever they go for walk or they go for enjoying themselves outside their palaces. They will have shade so that they are not uh, bothered by the heat of the sun as they used to in the summer. And they will have flowing water. Flowing water distinguishes between stagnant water. Stagnant water could turn bad. It could develop smells. It could develop uh, some sort of bad smells if it doesn't run. So they will have flowing water, means rivers and streams running with fresh water. Abundant fruit, which means they will have fruits of all types, of all shapes, of all colors, all available at the same time. And as the ayat mentioned before, they will be having choices to pick the fruits of their choices. And those fruits will never be out of season, which means they will not run sour or bitter. They will always be fresh and they will never be absent, which means you don't have to wait for the season to eat watermelon in the summer and grapes and other summer fruits, and it will not be uh, too old to eat. It will be always fresh. And number 34, it says they will also have elevated furnishings, which means beds and beddings that are not immediately on the floor. They will be raised up, which means they will not be afraid of things to creep around them or anything like this, because paradise does not have anything to fear anyway. So, but elevated furnishing means beds that are elevated, couches and chairs that are elevated, recliners that are elevated. Elevated means you don't have to lean to the floor to sit on them. You can just sit comfortably from standing position, and it will not take a lot of energy from you. So, and number 35, it says, definitely we will have perfectly created their mates. So if anyone has any question about who is going to be my spouse or what kind of spouse or anything, Allah in this ayah is saying that it is Allah who will have ready for them perfected and perfectly created special spouses. Allah will give everyone what fits and satisfies them fully and perfectly. This is the description that should cover all questions related to that part of the blessings that you get in paradise, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes those mates or spouses as we will make them virgins, okay? And they will be all loving and of equal age. Each one of them will be lovely for you, okay? And they will all be of equal age, which means you will not be making choices between someone old and someone not, someone virgin and someone not. So they will all be the same beauty and the same perfection that you could ever dream of. For the people of the right, definitely what goes on for the people of the right, it will go for the ultimate winners, which we spoke about in the previous few ayat before we got to this section. And also it says that this group will be a multitude from the earlier generations and a multitude from the later generations. Now we have a different description. The first group, the winners, it will be a multitude from the early generations and a few from the later generations. But for the right people, the people of the right, there will be a multitude from the later generation, as there will be a multitude from the earlier generations. Why is that? Because people who accept the faith uh, can have different grades, okay? So the people who are right, uh, they will have a group in and of itself, but some of them are elevated to the greatest winners based on their great efforts and compliance with the commands of Allah, living a righteous life. But the group who are called the right group or the group of the right, they are going to be more in both cases, in the early generations and the later generations. And then the people of the left, this is in ayah number 41, the people of the left will live a miserable situation in the hereafter. And the ayat coming will explain what their conditions will be and why. They will be scorching heat and boiling water. They will be in scorching heat and boiling water. This description is a description of being in hellfire. This is something that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to never expose us to. May Allah forgive us all and count us among the righteous ones and the winners. They will be in the shade of black smoke, because hellfire will be dark and it will be black, and they will be living in fire and smoke. May Allah protect us from this life. Neither cool nor refreshing. It is not going to be a cold smoke, nor will it give them refreshment of any kind to change their condition or the circumstances in which they live. Certainly, before this torment, they were spoiled by luxury. Now, the ayah is talking about what they used to do in this life. They were spoiled by luxury, meaning they enjoyed themselves beyond reason. And they thought that this kind of life will continue even if we go to the hereafter, even if we are resurrected, we will get the same luxury life that we have in this life. And they persisted in the worst of sin. They took positions that are sinful against the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they held on to their persistence in the worst of sins that they felt that they enjoyed in this life, and that's why they will persist in hellfire as well. And they used to ask each other mockingly, when we are dead and reduced to dust and bones, will we really be resurrected? They used to deny resurrection, and they used to mock the idea of resurrection by raising a question and raising doubts about resurrection. Are we going to be resurrected despite the fact that our bones are decayed and we turn into dust again? Are we really going to be resurrected? what about our forefathers? Are they also going to be resurrected? They raise those questions as if it is impossible in their eyes to be resurrected again. They don't want to recognize or believe the fact that we were created from dust, which we explained several times before. The Quran speaks very clearly about this, saying, O mankind, if you think that it is impossible for you to be resurrected from after becoming dust, rest assured that we have created you from dust. And this fact has been proven by science and discoveries of our days. So now ayah number 49 will address the Prophet ﷺ, telling him, most certainly earlier and later generations will surely be gathered together for the appointed day. Everybody will be resurrected. Those who died earlier, because they asked about their forefathers, and those who died later on, they all will be resurrected. So now ayah number 51 is talking to the people who deny the fact that they will be resurrected like everybody else. So it says, O you misguided deniers, okay? You will certainly eat from the fruit of trees of Zaqqum, which is an evil tree that the ayat will describe what it is made of and how it looks like. It says, you will be filling up your bellies with it, and on the top of that, you will drink boiling water, and you will drink it like thirsty camels do. You know, camels drink a lot of water at one time because they are one of a kind of animals that they can reserve water in their bellies so that they can use it if they get thirst as they are traveling in the desert. So the Quran is saying that people of hellfire, may Allah save us from hellfire, they will be drinking boiling water, and they will be drinking it like thirsty camels who drink a lot very fast and too much for any human being to drink. This will be their accommodation on the day of judgment. And number 56, it is promising them to just live this type of life. They are living in hellfire. They are living in dark smoke. They are eating from that evil trees that grew up in hellfire, and they will be drinking boiled water, and they will be drinking like thirsty camels. This is the accommodation that they will see in the hereafter. It is we who created you. Will you not then believe in resurrection? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to humans if they want to rationalize and reason and listen carefully to Allah. And He is saying, it is we who created you. Wouldn't you believe in resurrection? Don't you want to believe that we can resurrect you and we will resurrect you? And then it says, number 58, have you considered what you ejaculate? Referring to the semens that people ejaculate when they have intercourse. Have you considered what you ejaculate when you mate with each other as males and females, husbands and wives? Is it you who created it? Is it you who created a child out of it? Is it we who created a child out of it? Okay? We created you. Don't you know? Okay? We have ordained death for all of you, and we cannot be prevented. We cannot be prevented. This is the power of Allah. You can never change his command. You can never twist his arm. You can never force him to change what he wills to do. From transforming and recreating you in forms unknown to you. We have created you from transforming and recreating you in forms unknown to you. So we are created from dust and water. We are created from mud. We are created from water, like every living thing is created from water. But then Allah transforms this into shapes we have never known before our creation, what it is. You already know how you were first created. Will you not then be mindful? This question is directed at every human being, those who received the revelation earlier and those who received the revelation recently in our day and time. The ayah is saying, you already know how you were first created. We all know that we came from Adam, we came from Eve, we came from a father and a mother, and our first creation is Adam. Adam was made out of dust. This is clear in all the revelations given to all the prophets. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, you know that your first creation came from dust. So why don't you reason between yourself and reach the conclusion that resurrection is inevitable if you know what you were created from, which is known to everyone. Have you considered what you saw? Have you considered the plants that you saw their seeds in the ground? Is it you who caused them to grow, or is it we who grow them? Who makes a dry seed open up, absorb water, and produce the green, lush anything, and the fruits and the produce that we eat? Who grows them? Do you grow them, or is it Allah who grows them? We only put the seed in the ground, and only Allah makes it grow. If we willed, number 65, we could simply reduce this harvest to chaff, leaving you to lament and regret. This is Allah talking to every human being. It is not up to you. So the message here is, do you think or don't you use your mind? Okay? This is something for us humans to reflect on. We have truly suffered a great loss. The lamentation of the disbelievers will come on the day of judgment. They will be regretting what they used to think and what they used to deny. In fact, we have been deprived, they say, of our livelihood. We lost our life and we gained nothing. And instead of investing in our life with faith and obedience and submission, we wasted our own life. They will be saying to themselves, have you considered the water you drink? Have you thought of the water you drink? Is it you who brought it down from the clouds, or is it we who brought it down from the clouds? This is a question that is rhetorical. It is meant for us to answer, and the question doesn't seek the answer. The question seeks to remind us of who brought the water down from the clouds to grow things for us and to give us drinks that we love in this life. If we willed, we could have made it salty. Will you not then give gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why don't you give gratitude to Allah when you drink this pure water that you like, especially in the heat of the summer and you're traveling in the desert, dry lands? Why don't you think about this? Why don't you think about the water? Where do they come from? Oh, yes, they come from the sky, from the clouds, right? But who makes the cloud travel in one direction or the other? Who tells the cloud to pour its water that it is carrying in a special spot and not the other? There must be some controller, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created the clouds, the water, and He made the cloud carry that water in abundance. Have you considered the fire you kindle? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking us in a tour to look at His creations and His power and how much He controls over our living and life by raising those questions to entice us and inspire us to submit. Because other than saying, yes, Allah, you created everything. Yes, Allah, you created the heavens. You created us from dust and water and mud. And we were nothing when you created us. And as you go on and answer those questions, it should inspire your faith to make you want to submit to Allah, the one who created you, created your rizq, your provision, your water, your life, your food. Everything is created by Him. Is it you who produce its trees? Or is it we who produced its trees? Definitely the answer is known. This is a rhetorical question. It's meant to inspire us to give the right answer, which is you, Allah, have produced all of these trees, and were it not for you. And mind you, Allah here mentions trees in particular because forests, which are made of trees, grow without any human hand doing anything. It is water coming to the ground, and Allah, without any input from man, grows it into trees and fruits and other things. And He puts animals and insects and other environmental birds and factors and stuff like this to keep the forests growing. Subhanallah, this is amazing, without any interference, so that no one would think that the only thing that I grow is the thing that grows. No, there are things that are created directly by Allah without any human intervention. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have made it as a reminder of the hellfire and a provision for the travelers. So amazing. If you travel and you come across a forest and you have to go through it, your food is there. It's ready. There are stuff that you could eat from the forest without any human intervention or agricultural skills. So glorify the name of your Lord, the greatest. This is the command here as a result of all this tour and exploration of everything that the ayat has taken us to see and enjoy and to draw our attention to. It says now that you have seen all of this, glorify the name of your Lord, the one who is the greatest. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here says, I do swear by the positions of the stars. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing. And as one Bedouin man heard Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swearing that by His glory, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, that our provisions are up there in the heaven, which means it is in the hands of Allah. He can release what He wants, and He can hold what He doesn't want to release. So he said, who made Allah so angry that he swore? Why should he swear to us? Why should he swear to us? He doesn't need to prove himself or his action or his power. His power is so obvious everywhere. His control is so obvious. Look at the skies. Look at the planets. Look at the stars. Look at the sun timing and the moon. Look at the day and the night. And his power is so obvious, too obvious to require him to explain, let alone swear. But Allah here swears so that people who have doubts may be shaken at the core of their heart to believe and seriously consider what they hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying. So he says, I swear by the stars. And the stars are one of the greater creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? We know that the sun is about 93 million miles away from Earth, but its heat comes to us in the form of warmth. Its light comes to us, and we are only third out of 911 planets in the solar system. And this is not the only solar system in our galaxy. There are billions of those solar systems, which means billions of stars and billions of planets. So when Allah swears by something, it means that He is drawing our attention to the greater value and benefits of this kind of creation, so that we can wonder and ponder and thank Allah for making this creation work for us. So I swear by the positions of the stars. And this, if you only knew, is indeed a great oath. This is a huge type of swearing that Allah is putting out for us to ponder and think. That this is truly a noble Quran. This is the answer to the swearing. This is Jawab al-Qasam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by the stars that this book is truly a noble Quran. It is not a word that is made up by Muhammad or copied from any other source. Okay? It's a well-preserved record. The Quran is in, and it comes from a well-preserved record, meaning from al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, the preserved tablet that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has inscribed in it everything of His will. Touched by none except the purified angels, only accessible to the purified angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? It is a revelation from the Lord of all worlds. It is a revelation from Allah, the Lord of our worlds and the worlds of other creations. How can you then take this message lightly? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is raising a question. How could you take this message lightly if the Quran is of such status? How do you do this? And how do you not repay, and how don't you comply with Allah's commands for your provisions, and you answer His provisions with denial? How could you do this? If Allah has blessed us with everything that He has created and subjected everything to our benefit, then how could we receive those provisions and those bounties with denial? This is kufr. This is ungrateful. When then are you helpless when the soul of a dying person reaches their throat? Why? When somebody like you becomes helpless at the time of death and your soul reaches the throat and you cannot return it back, and you are looking on that dying person and you cannot return it back. And we are nearer to him, that person, that dying person, but you cannot see us, but we are nearer to him. We are taking care of his soul, and we will take care of his fate and destiny. Now, if you are not subject to our will as you claim, if you think you are a free agent of your own self, that you have created yourself, or that you came out of nothing, or that you will not be resurrected, then if you are out of the control of the will of Allah, as some of you claim, then bring that soul to that person back. If what you say is true, could we bring somebody to life as his soul is departing his body? No, we could not. And don't you think of resuscitation as bringing somebody to life? Resuscitation is a process of reactivating a heart that stalled. It stopped pumping. Reactivating it is an electric muscle process that doctors use to reactivate the heart by reinitiating electric sources to run the heart as it should be. But this is not resurrection, and this is not bringing the soul back. The soul had not departed the body, because once it departs, nobody could bring it back. That's what the ayat are saying. So if the deceased is one of those brought near to us, if the deceased is a righteous person, then such a person will have serenity, fragrance, and a paradise, a garden of bliss that they will live in. Okay? And if the deceased is one of the people of the right, then behold, greetings to you from the people of the right. They will be greeting you, O Muhammad, as they enter into paradise. But if such a person is one of the misguided deniers, the disbelievers who rejected the message after they understood that it is the truth, then their accommodation will be boiling water to drink, okay, and burning in hellfire. That's what they will get. Indeed, this is the absolute truth. So glorify the name of your Lord, the greatest. Glorify the name of your Lord, the greatest. This is the end of Surah Al-Waqi'ah, and we will stop here to allow for my time just to go to the following class. Inshallah. I will leave you now, and inshallah we'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.